Buying an HDB flat is a major financial decision for many Singaporeans. The cost of an HDB flat can be daunting, especially for first-time buyers. However, there are a number of ways to save money when applying for an HDB flat. In this article, we will discuss some of the best ways to save money when applying for an HDB flat in Singapore. We will cover topics such as 1. Understanding the 3-3-5 rule. 2. Applying for grants and subsidies. 3. Getting a good home loan. 4. Minimizing renovation costs. 5. Compromising on expectations. We will also provide some tips on how to make the most of your budget and get the most for your money when buying an HDB flat. Understanding the 3-3-5 rule. The 3-3-5 rule is a general guideline for how much you should have saved for a down payment on an HDB flat. The rule states that you should have at least 30% of the purchase price saved in cash, 30% of the purchase price in CPF savings, and 5% of the purchase price in liquid assets. For example, if you are buying an HDB flat that costs $500,000, you should have at least $150,000 in cash, $150,000 in CPF savings, and $25,000 in liquid assets. Of course, the 3-3-5 rule is just a guideline. You may need to save more or less depending on your individual circumstances. For example, if you have a high income and a low debt load, you may be able to get away with saving less. On the other hand, if you have a low income and a high debt load, you may need to save more. Applying for grants and subsidies. There are a number of government grants and subsidies available to help Singaporeans buy an HDB flat. These grants and subsidies can save you a significant amount of money on the purchase price of your flat. Some of the most common grants and subsidies include 1. The First Time Homeowners Grant, HG. 2. The Married Couple Scheme, MCS. 3. The Parenthood Provisional Housing Scheme, PPHS. 4. The Enhanced Subsidy for Elderly Homeowners, ESH. You can find more information about these grants and subsidies on the HDB website. Getting a good home loan. The interest rate on your home loan will have a big impact on your monthly repayments. Therefore, it is important to get a good home loan with a low interest rate. There are a number of banks and financial institutions that offer home loans in Singapore. You can compare interest rates and fees from different lenders to find the best deal for you. You should also consider the different types of home loans available. There are fixed rate loans, variable rate loans, and hybrid loans. Each type of loan has its own advantages and disadvantages. It is important to choose the right type of home loan for your individual needs. You should speak to a financial advisor to get help with this decision. Minimizing renovation costs. If you are buying a resale flat, you may need to renovate it before you can move in. Renovation costs can add up quickly, so it is important to minimize them as much as possible. Here are some tips on how to minimize renovation costs. 1. Do your research and get quotes from multiple contractors. 2. Choose simple and functional designs. 3. Use affordable materials. 4. Do some of the work yourself. Compromising on expectations. If you are on a tight budget, you may need to compromise on some of your expectations when buying an HDB flat. For example, you may need to consider buying a smaller flat in a less desirable location. It is important to be realistic about your budget and your needs when buying an HDB flat. If you are not willing to compromise, you may not be able to afford to buy a flat. Conclusion. Buying an HDB flat is a big financial decision, but there are ways to save money. By understanding the 3-3-5 rule, applying for grants and subsidies, getting a good home loan, minimizing renovation costs, and compromising on expectations, you can save money and get the most for your money when buying an HDB flat in Singapore.